I'm in this liquidity pool here. I've been in it since March 13th, and I'm up $326. I've had about a 20% ROI and doing about 45% APR. And in this video, I'll be diving into the types of pools that I like to invest into. And I'll also be showing you how to spot a bad liquidity pool. So before we get into this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an upload. Remember, this isn't financial advice. I'm just giving you my opinion. Anyways, we'll be using the software Metrics Finance. It's the best software for finding liquidity provision opportunities, simulating our returns, and building out our portfolio. So we can go ahead and launch the app, and I'll leave a link down below where you can claim a trial to the pro version of Metrics Finance, so you can go ahead and take advantage of that. Anyways, so we'll go to the Discover section and let's start looking for some pools. But right off the bat, we're going to look for some pools that have higher than $3 million in TVL. So we'll write TVL $3 million. So we're going to go here and go to our TVL filter and look for pools with higher than $3 million in TVL. There we go. Now we're going to select the exchanges we want to look at. I'll go ahead and write it in text so it's easier for you to see. But anyways, we're also going to want to go ahead and select exchanges that we are comfortable with. For example, I'm comfortable with using Uniswap, Orca, along with Velodrome and Aerodrome. Either I've used some of these in the past or I've read a lot about them and I have done my due diligence on these platforms. So go ahead and select the exchanges that you want to look at. And then with networks, we can go ahead and select all if you'd like, or you can select some certain networks you want to look at. For example, if you're looking at the Ethereum network, you might find some solid pools, but you might have to pay a solid amount in fees. But if you're looking at the Solana network, you might find less pools, but there might not be high fees. So we can go ahead and say select networks we like. Anyways, so now that we have the exchanges and networks selected, we can go ahead and start looking at some pools. I'll also go ahead and select Radium. So there's 131 pools to sort through, and of course, Metrics Finance makes this very simple. So we can start scrolling down. We'll see some positions that have meme coins in them, so I'll go ahead and write that down. I like to avoid meme coin pairs. Now, of course, I've seen many stories of people making money, being profitable with these meme coin positions, but I personally do not like investing into them. I'm not the type of person who wants to be checking their crypto portfolio every day, every hour, etc. I want to be in pools that I'm confident in for the long term. A perfect example of that is the position I showed you. I've been in it since March 13th. I haven't touched it. I've just been letting it sit, generate profit and income. So the first thing I'll do is look at positions that include assets I am bullish on. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. For example, if I have a HODL portfolio that contains Solana, I'll go here, type in Solana, and start looking at some Solana positions. For example, this is the one I'm in, the USDC to Solana. So what I'd want to do is go to the simulate feature in metrics, type in my sample deposit amount. So say I want to deposit like $10,000 into this pool, we can type that in, and we can scroll down, see information about the pool, and start learning about it. We can zoom out, calculation time frame, and look at the past 100 days of data, see how it's performed over the past 100 days, or we could zoom in, see how it's performed over the past 20 days or so. All this information is very crucial to DeFi investors just like us. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and select our range, our sample range for the simulation. So for example, if we want to supply liquidity for a price range of 122 to 169, Metrics is showing we'd be getting about an 82% APR. And remember, there's risks to this DeFi investing such as divergence loss. But anyways, we can scroll down and see more information about the pool. So now let's get into some green flags and red flags we want to look out for. So green flags, high volume, high fees. So here, look, we can see this pool has a high volume, a ton of volume, and a ton of money in fees every day. So this is a great sign for me. I see this, I'm like, okay, I definitely want to look more into this pool, maybe take on exposure to it. So from here, I could find a better range. I could tighten up my range or make it more wide. And then I could go ahead and do more research into Solana and USDC and make sure they're assets I want to take on exposure to. So with this sample range, with a $10,000 investment, we're looking at about $23 a day in income according to Metrics. So we can go ahead and save this to a portfolio for later if you want to invest into it later on. But then we can go back and start looking at other positions. We can add some more filters. So for example, I'm probably going to want to look for pools that have higher than 15 to 20% APR. So we can go ahead and go here and add pools with higher than 20% APR. So by that, you can go here to the higher than section in metrics, type in higher than 20%. Here we go. Now we're down to 62 pools. We have a lot of pools to sort through. We can start scrolling down this list. I'll go to page 2. I see this pool wrapped ETH to MKR. Looks solid, showing 37% APR with 16 million bucks in TVL. Let's go ahead and simulate it and dive deeper. All right, scrolling down. Oh, look at this volume history. Major red flags. We're seeing pretty much no money in fees and volume. That is big to look out for. So, red flags, low fees, low volume. You need to be very careful about this. Look at this. Imagine you're in this pool and there's no money in fees. But I'm so glad I have Metrics Finance to view this important data. Scrolling up, we can also see how correlated the assets are. These assets are about 21% correlated. And if I personally were to get into another liquidity pool, I would look for assets that are correlated. And the reason is, with my investment style, if one asset goes up, I'd want the other one to go up with it. So anyways, this probably wouldn't be the best decision because it's showing only 21% correlation. And the correlation feature is only available on the pro version of Metrics Finance, but don't worry, you can claim a trial using the link below like I said. Anyways, I'm going to exit out of this pool because low correlation, low fees, low volume does not look too solid. Anyways, we can look at this position, wrapped ETH to link, showing about 37% APR with about $21 million in TVL. We can hit simulate, open it up right here. Scrolling down, let's check out the volume history. All right, it's looking much more solid. Look, we're having thousands of dollars per day in fees and millions per day in volume. So this is green flags on my end. Check out correlation. Look at this, 88% correlation. That's a very high correlation. And this correlation is based off the past 30 days of data. We could go ahead and change that to use the past 15 days. So it's still showing 88. What if we do the past 5 days of data showing 90% correlation based on the past 5 days of data? So anyways, we can go with something like a 15-day calculation time frame. Then we can go ahead and find our range. So we can find our min price and max price. So if we're looking at about 113 to 134 for this pair, we're looking at about 66% yearly APR. Solid. Now the next thing I would do is look at Link and Wrapped Ethereum. What role do they play in the DeFi ecosystem? So I would research all involved assets. So how I would do that is go to coingecko.com and then paste it in. So here we're looking at Link. So I can copy Link, go to CoinGecko, paste in the asset, say I don't know much about it. I can click on it, start looking about Link, see the role it plays in the DeFi ecosystem, explore the website, and this can help me have a better understanding of whether I want to take on exposure to the pool in this asset or not. And if you've learned anything so far, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. I really want to hit 1,000 subscribers. This pretty much wraps it up at a beginner level of what types of pools I'd want to invest into. If you'd want to see me go more in depth, make sure to comment that down below. And remember to check out Metrics Finance using the link in the description down below. And I'll see you in the next one.